Hey, welcome back everybody to RFL. It is 6:30 and our next guest tonight, the chairman of the New York State Conservative Party and champion for New York's conservatives since the 1980s, not the date, Michael Long. Michael, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. A few minutes.
Good to be with you.
You too. All right, the big development as it relates, at least on the social policy front, was the vote over gay marriage. Day after day, there was a lot of back and forth, but we all know how it ended. In fact, there's a lottery right now to perform some of the ceremonies. I know you didn't agree with the final vote on it. Tell me now, with a couple weeks with it in the rearview mirror, you think at the end of the day it's that bad for New York or not?
At the end of the day, I think it was the wrong policies for New York. I think it's wrong for our society. It's a law that changes the cornerstone of Western civilization. I think, if anything, there should have been, if there was going to be a vote, should have been a vote to put on the ballot and give the voters of the state of New York the opportunity to say yay or nay on preserving traditional marriage or changing traditional marriage.
So you wanted a ballot
and I believe that would have, traditional marriage would have survived. Every place in America that this has been a ballot initiative, traditional marriage has won.
Yeah, every Republican I talk to, wherever they fall on the spectrum, say one of the most influential guys in the state, if you're a Republican, is Michael Long. And right after the vote came down, you already saw the handful of Republicans who came out and pushed it over the top. They were already being threatened with primaries. A couple $1 million bucks already been set aside by one group, and people have already said, I'm going to have trouble here. This might be my final act of political courage if I'm going to get elected. I don't have to tell you about Reagan, who I know is still one of your political heroes. He believed in a big...
my political hero.
Is your political hero. He believed in the Big Tent philosophy, right, that everybody had a place at the table for the Republican Party. You talk to some of those Republicans right now who went the other way, they say, my party abandoned me once I didn't vote the party line.
Well, look, I think Ronald Reagan believed in a big tent, but I don't think Ronald Reagan believed in throwing the baby out with the bathwater, okay? It depends how big that tent is. And hey, look, if some people have a different point of view, the difference is here, it's not about a big tent. Prior to this vote, the Republican Party, meaning state senators in the state of New York, understood where we stood. We made it very clear to them. There was a vote of the State Executive Committee. There was a resolution passed. Every state senator got a copy of that resolution, making it very clear that if you voted for same-sex marriage, that you no longer would be worthy of having the Conservative Party endorsement. When they came to us prior to their election, they were asked that question. Every one of them made a commitment.
It's so acknowledged. They changed their tune.
No, they didn't change their tune. They broke their word. There's a difference. The difference.
But you know the numbers better than I do, okay? Registration, Republicans, Democrats in New York, it's a blue state. Your job at the end of the day, I know, is, you know, there's a conservative perspective that you want voiced in this state and to have a place at the table for the Republican Party. But isn't it just as important to get Republicans elected? Because the consequence is you're going to have not only every statewide office is held by a Democrat right now, you're going to make it more and more difficult to get a Republican, maybe not your ideal Republican, but an electable Republican on the ballot, let alone to hold office. If you say, I don't care what the plurality of New Yorkers feel on this issue, you either vote this way or I'm going to primary or you know what.
Well, look, I haven't told anybody I'm priming anybody. I did say that the 4 Republicans who voted for this will not, if I'm still around, I will not sign the paperwork that they get the Conservative Party endorsement. Whether someone challenges them or not, that's someone else's business, okay?
But you're certainly not discouraging people to raise money to primary against.
Well, you know, and that, you know, there's another side of the coin here, which tells an awful dirty detail here. And it's being released every day, new stories coming out every day of the 4 Republicans, how much money they've raised since the vote. Since after they cast their vote, you talk about 30 pieces of silver, yeah, some of them have raised over $100,000 because of their vote. So, you know.
But do you want to, is it more important to stand on principle than sometimes to make political decisions that, hey, listen, at the end of the day, you mentioned Silver. Would you rather have Shelley Silver as running the assembly or a guy that you'd rather have that you might hold your nose on because he voted for gay marriage?
Absolutely not. But if someone gives it, Richard, if you give me your commitment, you're going to defend traditional marriage, and then you go to work, and then I find out that donations are pouring into your office. And
I can appreciate that people spoke out of two sides of their mouth to you. But it
seems to me that principles count in this thing.
Okay, but you and I know.
And
the guys they ran statewide last year.
Right.
I looked around the table at the convention that I was at. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the best the Republican Party can do. Palladino, and I won't get you in trouble. The guy was loony. I mean, you guys could have done better with vulnerable Democrats than some of the guys you ran.
Remember, Richard, we supported Rick Lazio.
I know.
Governor,
I know. Rick was here a couple nights ago.
And I think we've been very consistent. And I think the only reason there's a conservative party in the state of New York still is because Republicans refuse to act like Republicans. If Republicans would act like Republicans and stand up to their... Don't forget, only a few years ago, these same Republicans voted to increase taxes, were part of the spending problem in the state of New York. It took a Democrat.
You just gave me a segue, Michael. You gave me a perfect segue, because when we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about the debt limit fight. I want you to stay right there.